Welcome to Big Blend Radio's Adventures in Asheville show, featuring Steve and Karen Wilson, owners and innkeepers of the Lion and the Rose Bed and Breakfast. Welcome, everyone. It is time for another episode of Big Blend Radio's Adventures in Asheville show. And, June is National Outdoors Month. And if you really want to go in the outdoors, we're talking about the Blue Ridge Mountains, Smoky Mountains. We are talking about the pristine forests of Western North Carolina. How about going on a canopy tour, an actual tree-based canopy tour? We're talking ziplining. We're talking beauty. We're talking a little adrenaline rush. You can go from, just go on your own little side trip, your little solo tour. You could bring your family. You can bring a reunion. If you're doing a business meeting, y'all put the bosses on a zipline tour and chill them out. Just saying. So we have Teresa Castro joining us from Navitat Canopy Adventures. I encourage you to go to their website and check it out. You can go to navitat.com. The link is in the episode notes. And we, of course, have Steve and Karen Wilson from the Lion and the Rose Bed and Breakfast. We call them Mr. and Mrs. Wild because they like to do things like ziplining. So first off, welcome back, Karen. How are you?
I'm good. How about you?
Doing good. Steve, how's it going?
Doing good. Keeping busy and yeah, I like that.
Yeah, busy is good. And Asheville is looking so good. All the trees are green and flowers are out and the rebuilding is still going on. Part of this whole show is to let you know what is open and what is happening. I know that you guys did some ziplining recently. So did you have fun? Because the photos look good.
Absolutely. That's one of the best things I could say you can do out here for outdoor adventure.
Awesome. Awesome. So Teresa, welcome to the show. How are you?
Thank you, Lisa, for having me. Yes, we had the pleasure of hosting Karen and Steve out on our mountaintop course last week. And yeah, the pictures say it all. And the smiles warm my heart. So I hope everyone had a great time and was able to just kind of escape from the ordinary day to day and do something kind of extraordinary.
Yeah. Now, that's the thing. The photos, what I was looking at on your website, again, everyone, navitat.com, go to lion-rose.com, links in episode notes, So if you're on the zip line, you're actually doing that. And you don't need to really worry too much about actually going out and doing the photos, right? So, somebody else can help you with the photos or even catch you on video doing the zipline tour, right?
Yes, our guides are actually trained to collect photos throughout the tour. They're equipped with iPhones and are able to take on kind of that risk of having the phone secure to them rather than our guests trying to fumble around with their phones with the very real risk of dropping it, 300 feet to the ground and never seeing it again. So we like to tell our guests to just kind of leave everything behind in their cars before the tour starts and let us take care of everything from start to finish. And the photo package is a really important part of the experience for a lot of people, because when you come and do something, yes, you want to be in the moment. You want to live it right then when it's happening, but people love to share their experiences. And so these photos allow people to look back, share it with their friends and family and online. And so we love providing that service for our guests.
That's awesome. And now, can you give us a little, I know it's 15 years you've celebrated, right? 15 years this year?
Yeah, we our course opened in 2010 here in Asheville with our original treetop course. And, we're going now 15 years strong here in Asheville. We now even have a location in Knoxville, Tennessee, that is more kind of adventure course based. But yeah, we love being a part of Asheville and the history here. I really enjoy meeting guests who say, oh my gosh, I was here 10 years ago. Look how much has changed. And to be a company, especially in this outdoor adventure, outdoor recreation industry that is able to sustain and continue to bring guests back year after year after year is something to celebrate for sure. It's not common to see a company like this thrive for so long and to have guests and the community continue to support them year after year.
That's awesome. I want to ask you is how much of that is also the joy of seeing someone overcome their fear of doing it.
I get to see that every day almost. Yeah, it's something our guests are coming out there for their own personal reasons. Some people are adrenaline junkies, and this is just another day in the park for them. And some people are there and they've maybe been considering trying to attempt an activity like this for years and just building up the courage to be able to come out and actually sign up and put on that harness and entrust our guides with their experience and their safety for the day. It means a lot to us to see that. And we love time and time and time again, watching the transformation of those guests from the moment they leave for their tour at the beginning. And when I get to see them when they come back, and they've just had some type of internal change. It's really wonderful to see.
So where are you, like exactly what kind of, for people that have never been to Asheville, can you give kind of a description of where they're going and what forest are they going through the Pisgah forest? What are they, like, what kind of trees are they going, because they're going above, right? So, and through, like, what's happening?
Sure. So we're really blessed to be built in a really natural environment. We are about 25 minutes north of Asheville. So it is quite accessible for people to get to us, but also we are quite secluded, and we're in the little town of Barnardsville. And we're on a piece of property that's 240 acres of pristine forest. We are very lucky that our guests are not only, while they're on our property traversing, they're going to be in this very natural environment, undeveloped. We have only a few old growth trees, but most of our trees are about 60 to 80 years old. And so beautiful canopy, very full and diverse, just like the Blue Ridge Mountains are. But when they're up there at height and you're getting these long range views of the mountains, this is the only place that I've ever ziplined. And I do get around to these different companies where the views are so pristine and undeveloped. So you get views of even the Blue Ridge Parkway from our facility on a clear day. And so you'll see lots of tulip poplars, oak trees, and all the other animals and plants that come along with the beautiful Blue Ridge Mountains here.
Now, are you open year round? I mean, I know winter might be a little cold, right? And a little different.
Yeah. So traditionally we have closed. We try to stay open through Thanksgiving, and then we usually shut our doors and we'll reopen in early March. So this year we had a little bit of a delayed opening because we had a lot of cleanup and recovery to do over this winter since Hurricane Helene, but we were very happy to be able to be open before the kids' spring breaks happened. And now, as the forest has been just coming alive day after day, it continues to change and amaze us all. It kind of has this amazing life back in it, and we are ready to go full swing into summer.
And then fall too has got to be exceptional.
Oh my gosh, people come from all over, make reservations months in advance just to see those peak colors of that Asheville's known for from above, from this really, really unique perspective.
And I think there's something about the colors of nature. Like when the green comes out, and I've lived in the desert for a long time. So when I see green, I start to get giddy green in spring and summer. And I start to get like, I will roll in the grass. I will start hugging things I shouldn't be hugging. It's like someone has to remind me about poison ivy a little bit. I'm a little silly about it because there's a thing about color. I mean, look how we get about trees, and when they're popping and you see that color, it changes our body like in a positive way. There's nothing like it. Like we talk about getting a good old dose of vitamin D. I think it's the same thing with seeing nature's colors. They do something to us physically in a very happy, good, calm, beautiful way, and gives us that balance back. And with the trees, being able to zip line through the trees, there's something about it that makes you feel like you're really one with nature. You are like, you get to be a little bit of a monkey and a bird at the same time, which to me is pretty cool. I want to ask Steve, what was it like for you? And I want to go to you, Karen, since you guys just did it. And I know you've done this kind of thing before, but Steve, for you, what were some of the highlights of ziplining? Did you yell too?
Oh, I always yell, yeah. The highlights is giving Karen a 15-second head start, then passing her by 15 seconds.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. Oh my God. But did you see any eagles or hawks when you were out there, like any of the bird life, or is it just that beautiful expanse? What was it like for you, Karen? Go ahead, Steve.
My favorite
we
is
didn't.
good.
I just say we didn't see anything, but our guides were really helpful when I was asking about different wildlife they see on the trails and all that, and it's pretty amazing what they do see. Okay, go ahead, Karen.
He's giving you the 15 seconds. Go.
Yeah, no, he's good. He is. My favorite part is that long line, just going mountaintop to mountaintop, and just that weird feeling as you start going further along, that whatever they call it, that spatial feeling where you feel like you're slowing down and it just kind of creeps you out like you're going to stop in the middle of that line. But it's like 60 seconds of just non-stop looking all around, taking, like Teresa said, the views are like nothing you will see anywhere else, untouched nature at its best. That feeling, just going, I wish it could last forever feeling.
So you feel like you're flying like a bird.
Yeah, absolutely. And screaming the whole way.
Yeah. But I like this that you're going mountaintop to mountaintop. So you have these those in-between zones. Yeah. Now but the adrenaline is that. I think you're Mr. and Mrs. Wild for a reason. We all want the adrenaline rush, right? And I think that keeps us alive. He says, isn't that a thing? Like having that adrenaline rush, that thrill is like, it makes us feel younger. I need that. You're talking about your trees being 60 to 80 years old. I'm like, I'm getting close. It's coming. It's coming for me. That youth is coming for me. 60 to 80 years and a tree is young. But for me, I'm like, uh-oh. So I feel it kin with them. But do you see that with people, that adrenaline where like they may be nervous and they get off and then they're like, wow, I am like alive.
Oh, absolutely. And you can I also occasionally will guide tours as well. So I can see it a little bit more in that immediate where, at takeoff that they were nervous by the time they've hit the brakes and then you're taking them off the line, the smiles, that their eyes are wide, their mouths are open. They just they're speechless a lot of the time, which I love to see. It's really special. And, we have people of all ages and physical abilities able to come out and complete our course. It was about 2 weeks ago. I had a group of 3 women ranging from 70 to 80 years old was the oldest guest in that group. Awesome. And they were just bucket listers, always talked about it, always wanted to do it. Kept saying, my children will not believe that I have done this. You better make sure to take pictures. And they just come alive so bright when they're able to experience this.
Well, I love that. And you're saying, so all ages, all abilities. Have you had, people like when you talk bucket lists, like make a wish kind of things happen, where a kid may want to go up, or like school groups? Do you even do school groups? That would be wild to have a bunch of kids ziplining. Do they get louder?
It's wild, Lisa. Those days on the property can be a little louder than most. But yes, we love large groups. Whatever the need of the person is, we want to be able to fulfill that. And I do want to touch on what you were asking, kind of make a wish or these kind of special needs tours that we are able to accommodate. And it's something that we've been working on for the past few years to, when we have inquiries of, hey, my son is paralyzed from the waist down. Can he do this activity? And, by all means when you were to look at this course and what it entails, the answer should be no. I mean, you're out in the middle of the wilderness, there's hiking involved, there's the ziplining, but we have been able to make these special tours happen for these guests with a lot of planning and work on our end, and having these people bring enough assistance or equipment that they may use. But it's amazing what we can make happen, and the reward of having these families be so thankful after the experience, no matter what their expectations were, we seem to exceed them. And I've also heard many times that they have called many places and no one else would help. And they were just in tears, almost thankful that we were able to make this happen for their son or daughter or family member. And of course, I'm getting teary-eyed now thinking about those times.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That's, I think, something it's just a little magical about Navitat, that we're kind of small enough and that we can make exceptions, that we can go above and beyond, that we can be kind of unreasonable in the hospitality that we provide people. And I'm very grateful to be part of a company like that.
What the name Navitat? You want to touch on that? Because that's a cool name. It
is. And so it's a made up word. It's not, some, Native American or meaningful.
People are Googling right now going, What is
I know.
Navitat? Over Christmas time, they're going to go Felice Navitat. Let's go tree line. The tree line.
So it's a combination of the words navigating and habitat. So it's about navigating your habitat in a unique and different way. And so seeing the mountains, the trees, the forest from a new perspective. But yeah, that's where that word comes from.
Yeah, so I like that. I like that. It's like it's get out there. Now, I think, with Steve, what you're talking about the 15-second, go ahead and then I'm going to pass you. I kind of feel like this is a cool thing, a way of getting engaged. Has anybody kind of like used this as a way to, if we can get through this together, I'm going to pop the question kind of thing?
So we have had a few planned proposals, and my staff and I absolutely get giddy over someone calling, and getting these calls from people. And so I think last year what we did is we had they called in advance. They were going to propose to their partner. They wanted to understand kind of the ins and outs of the tour and where might be a good place to do that. So we advised them on where the perfect shot would be. We made sure that the guides for that tour were fully aware of the plan. We had hidden GoPro cameras.
No way.
On tours. Yes, we did.
Sneak attack.
And it was just amazing. So when they came down from their tour, she said yes, thank God. When they get back down from their tour, we actually had some sparkling apple juice and flowers waiting for them in the Welcome Center. So those are those things that maybe only happen once or twice a season, but they make us so happy. And we love to go above and beyond and try to make someone's day just unforgettable.
Wow. See, Karen, I'm thinking you guys have a romance package. I'm kind of thinking it's like take your romance to a whole treetop level.
Yeah, definitely take it to another level. Oh, yeah.
I like this.
A lot of honeymooners and bachelorette parties. So this kind of, I like to use the phrase, love is in the air. And, a lot of those we haven't had a wedding yet, but a lot of the wedding party activities seem to kind of gravitate towards our offerings.
Well, I think a lot of weddings now, like the bachelorette and bachelor parties, have changed from being, the hangover in Vegas style, and people are doing more experience. I mean, I'm sorry, but that is an experience. I'm not going to go against and, but, it's changing up to being like, let's do something unique like this and really kind of challenge ourselves. And it's like, okay, we're going to zip line before we get hitched, I think that it's changed. Have you seen that in what's happened over the last 15 years? Are you seeing more of those kind of parties kind of go towards, something unique like what you're doing? Because it's not, there's a lot of ziplining companies, right? But not that many. It is still a unique and bucket list adventure, like you're saying, especially in this region, to be ziplining through the Blue Ridge Mountains. Come on, man. That's pretty epic.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't really speak to trends, but, because I haven't been with the company more than 3 years, but, it is so fun to see these groups want to do something other than just stay at home and drink. They are really excited to be out, be active. And I find that they're mostly visiting Asheville. And so they come from all over, and this is a meeting point for them. And I am so grateful that we make the list of all the things that there are to do in Asheville, that they're finding us and choosing us for their group excursions and for these really, really memorable trips. I feel really blessed that we have been able to kind of cement ourselves in the culture here of Asheville to be included in people's plans.
Yeah. Family reunions, birthday parties, especially like when you hit the mid zone, right? That big hill. Over the hill, you might as well go over the trees. I'm just saying. I wish you can go over the mountaintop and say, yeah, watch this, I'm not going to have a crisis. I went over the trees and over the mountains. It's so cool. I think it's a cool thing. And I'm just wondering now, Steve, because when people check in at the Lion and the Rose Bed and Breakfast, we're talking about the romance, the reunions. I think what's great about, the Lion and the Rose Bed and Breakfast is you can actually rent out the entire B&B once in a while, right, Karen? Only certain times they can actually rent it out. And so for a family reunion or a friends gathering or a special birthday party, those kind of things.
Yep.
Yeah, weddings too.
We leave that open to all times of year, actually. So it's just a matter of availability.
Oh, okay. So you got to go to lion-rose.com for that. And then, and make sure that you go to Navitat and have this experience, these group experiences. I love this because it's a really cool way for people to get to learn the area. But Steve, I'm thinking, like, if people are doing this group experience and when people check in at the B&B, you give them a pint of your home brewed beer. I mean, we are talking Beer City, USA, and I think everyone deserves a beer after going up in the trees. I think it should be, some of us may want it beforehand, but don't tell Teresa, okay? Don't just shush, shush. It's like the people with hot air balloon rides. Don't tell them that you've got something in your pocket, like a little.
No, you gotta earn it.
Yeah,
I think you got to earn it. No different. We like to do the hike and then a beer afterwards. We did ziplining the other day, and what did we do afterwards? We went for a beer.
Yeah, have a reward of after something that is absolutely incredible. You did a big adventure, right? So Steve, I'm thinking like a tree-based beer. Come on, I don't know. What do you think? You could like Woody or something. I don't know.
Over the top.
Scott named Chester, and he's a squirrel. And so we talk about Chester's brew or, acorn something. I don't know. What do you think, Steve?
Chester Nut Ale.
I got some things going on in my mind.
I like that. Chester's Nut Ale. That's good. I like that. Ale. Love that. That's cool. That's cute. I gotta go look at him now because I love it when they have their little cheeks full of nuts. They're like, "Look at me," and I'm gonna hide them from the other squirrels. And the other squirrels like, "I watch you. I know where you're going with them." And then they normally forget where they hid their nuts. They really do. They forget where they hide them everywhere. I've done podcasts on this. I've learned squirrels take their
trees grow everywhere.
Yeah, they hide them in all these places. And once I learned this, I'm now like. Every time I hike, I see little nut patches and then they dig them in and they can go down I think it was 4 inches in the snow to get to hidden tree nut things. Like they can find them. They're little patches. They hide them. They ate all my tulip bulbs 2 years ago.
I know.
It wasn't Chester. Chester doesn't do that.
No,
Chester's in the wild.
Chester, but
Chester didn't do it.
More rotten squirrels.
Yeah, but you've got domesticated ones now. That's different. Chester's out in the wild, and Chester doesn't do that, right, Teresa? Chester's a good squirrel. He's a
good squirrel, and he has 240 acres of his own land that he's allowed to do whatever he wishes on. I promise he won't bother anyone else.
I know. Who knew we were going to get into Chesterville here? I love this. Well, I would like Chester to meet our mascot. We travel full time across the country documenting parks and public lands, and we don't like our photos taken, so we need a mascot. And we have Priscilla, the pink sock monkey, and we can't actually take her out very many places because there's too many animals, and animals think she's a chew toy. But anyway, she's decked out. She's been blinged up by a fashion designer. She has her own shoes. She has junior ranger badges from national parks. She's cool. So I think Priscilla needs to meet Chester. I think so. I think that would be cool. And then they could get on a zip line together and, live happily ever after. She could live in
how romantic. Maybe there will be a proposal again.
You never know. We'll have to have a party, a zip line party. How many do you take in a group? Is there a limit?
It just depends on if we have large groups, we will kind of coordinate a way to keep them as all one party. But on our day-to-day bookings, we try to keep the groups around between 8 and 10 guests. And then each group like that will have 2 designated guides that are assigned to them for the entirety of the tour. And we find that that's a really good ratio. People don't feel too crowded. You also have some nice quiet moments out on the trail with that number of people, and still getting that really kind of one-on-one attention from the guides throughout the experience.
Well, I'm so glad you guys are here and made it through the hurricane. I think that's a real important note to make. Yeah. And that Steve, Karen, when you did the zip line, are people going to be blown away of the beauty still? Because that's what we want people to understand.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
It's so green out there.
It's so green right now. We've not been when it's green like that. There's nothing like it. It's so full of life right now.
Well, and Asheville is really recovering, and sometimes you completely forget that a hurricane came through here.
Yeah, if you were on that zip line, you would have definitely forgotten about all that. You'd see a few tree down here and there, but honestly, they've done a great job that you would not know. You wouldn't think about it.
Nope.
That's cool. That's really cool.
Well, you had mentioned earlier, Lisa, about just when we were speaking about how it feels to have the colors come back and the trees in full bloom, it has been hyper emotional for myself this year, just because it seems like this has been such a long, dark winter. You know, we missed our beautiful fall. We weren't able to really soak all that in. And so when that green came in, it just really did something to my heart, like you said. But I think this year for everybody here, it's just on another level.
Exactly.
I agree.
It's resiliency, right? It's renewal, rebirth, and resiliency. And, you know, through every disaster, and Teresa, you know, my mom and I have been through many, from wildfires to earthquakes to, you name it, bombs, honestly, I know that sounds weird, but it's true. You know, disaster it's devastating, and these kind of things are not done overnight. And that's why I'm so glad. I mean, we've been doing this show for years now, but it's so important for people to realize, yes, the community still needs and wants support, because the road to recovery is never quick and easy. I mean, I think Good Morning America did an amazing job coming out here and showcasing, you know, the changes and the resiliency of Asheville itself. But it's also throughout the eastern Tennessee, Georgia, West Virginia, Florida. There's this whole region, and Nancy and I have physically traveled everywhere that has been affected from the hurricanes and the other hurricanes in Florida this year and part of last year. We have done it all. And yes, you will see things, and it just goes, okay, well, let's make sure we support these communities, even if it's stopping and getting gas on a road trip, or going and getting a meal, doing something like Navitat, staying at Steve and Karen's. When you support a small business, it goes directly into that community. Through travel and tourism, we can make a difference. And when we put our money into the small businesses, it really makes even more of a difference. It really does. So look at that. You know, all of it adds up together. You know, I'm not going to knock brand places, brand hotels, brand restaurants, all of that, because it does all trickle through. But when you do support these kind of small businesses like Navitat, like Steve and Karen, like how it goes back into the community is triple, quadruple, 100 times bigger. Big or small, whatever you do, it really, really helps. So just think about that when we travel this summer, how we can give back to all these communities that have been really working on it. I mean, like even Maui, Lahaina, I'm not sure where they were now, but like just a few months ago, we did a podcast on Lahaina, and only one home had been built just a few months ago. At this point in recovery. So you've got to think about what everyone goes through. There is so much fun. We are in Asheville right now, Nancy and I. We've been here, back and forth all year, actually. And there is still a ton to do. There are breweries. Steve and Karen are open. Go ziplining. There's still waterfalls to experience. There's waterfalls, right? Parts of the parkway are opening. There's downtown is thriving. There's concerts. Larkin and Poe been here. You know, they've just been through. We haven't seen them yet because we're recording just a few days before them. But like, there's so much going on, so many events, a lot of hiking. But here's the thing. We've done so many of these, right? You know, Steve and Karen, where when you go with these kinds of companies like Navitat, like Asheville Wellness Tours, Asheville Hiking Tours, all of these kind of group tours, rooftop cocktails, y'all. There's a whole tour company on that. You're getting people who already know how to navigate what is open and closed, so you don't have to waste your time trying to figure it out, and let these companies do it. If you talk to Steve and Karen when you make a reservation, they know who's open, who's closed, who they're going to help you. That's the beauty of a bed and breakfast. They know places like Navitat, you know, and so Navitat will take you on this guided, you know, you've got a guide. Steve, you're saying you learned about the wildlife and the nature on your way to do the zip line. So this is the experience that is probably the best route to do. And again, you're giving back to the community. Teresa, what do you think? Do you agree with that? I know you do.
I do. Yeah, very well said, Lisa. You know, great points all around. We are a small business. We are a family-owned business. We are very blessed for the staff that we have. We have a very large number of guides who return to us year after year, which is quite uncommon in the industry because it is seasonal work and you know, not very consistent at times. But we've built a strong relationship with our guides and our staff, and they love being there. They love meeting people every day from all walks of life, showing them our land, showing them our adventure, teaching them something new, answering their questions, being there for them to make them smile, to help them overcome their fears. And they do it all because they actually are deeply passionate about it. And so, yeah, supporting our business, supporting Karen and Steve, any small local business that people can visit. It makes a huge impact, and it keeps Asheville the kind of community that we are, which is very unique, eclectic, kind, passionate, and we support our own community. So come and be a part of that and show us some love.
Because you're going to get a whole bunch back. And Steve will pour you a beer. And if you're there on a Sunday, you get a beer mimosa and sausage or bacon, right?
Ooh. Yep.
Yeah. After a zipline adventure, you want to have a good breakfast. I'm serious. That's
yeah.
Yeah. You got to have that. Well, thank you all so much. Karen, Steve, anything else on your side that you want people to know about? Any packages, that kind of thing?
We have nothing new right now. Actually, I think we had a couple of questions for Teresa. We were just curious on a couple things when we were on the zip line. Steve?
Oh yeah. How much does it weigh? That cable for the longest cable? Do you have any idea how much that thing weighs?
I think I would be guessing thousands of pounds is my initial instinct. It's 3,600 feet long, plus, that's how long the actual zipping length is. So let's call it 3,800 feet of galvanized cable. I mean, it's heavy. So, unfortunately, I don't have anything more technical than that.
Well, Steve, you're not supposed to ask women about weight anyway.
Well, we were curious about that because we were just like, how did they make this line? How long?
Did they airlift it?
How they got it out there?
Yeah.
Well, that is a very common question, and people do ask all types. Did you use a helicopter? And the actual answer is to get a line across an expanse like that, you actually start with rope. And so there is a process of actually using these, they call them ship to shore guns, but it's where you shoot rope a far distance, and it could be used in marine, to shoot a ship to land, shoot a line to land from the ship.
Yeah.
So they're using those to make multiple shots across to try and get a rope to the other side. And then once that is secured, and again, the technical part is a little lost on me here, but they use that rope then to pull the cable across. And so if you can kind of visualize that with heavy machinery, because again, because of the weight, but that is the mystery around that.
Okay.
Gotcha.
Oh, cool.
We were just curious. I think that those were the two questions. We were curious how heavy the cables were and how exactly were they installed. Because we're looking at this stuff saying, geez, and we knew the weight was crazy. I mean, and then that length of that one, wow.
Yeah, and there's two of them.
It's hard to comprehend. And a lot of facilities are not to the scale. Like, this is something very unique, is the scale that we're operating on. And so a lot of these things, this course was built by professional designers, and this was, a big experiment. Can we make a course like this? And then we actually had companies design our trolleys specifically custom designed for our course because they just hadn't had a need to build these before. The braking systems as well. There's a lot of custom equipment and modifications that are done specifically for Navitat because something like this had never been, I'm not saying never, but was not commonly practiced, especially in the year that course was built in 2013.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, what I like is that it is
zipline.
Good.
Is there any room for expansion or anything for you guys to add more courses, or you already got everything pretty much covered in the amount?
That's a great question. Our owner is a visionary and very excited about adding more and more and more to the customer experience. Do stay tuned. There's always something in the works. While it does take a lot of time and we had some setbacks last year, do keep an eye, and hopefully within the next 1 to 2 years, we're going to have some really big new things for our guests to come back and experience for the first time.
Exciting.
Well, this is cool. This is cool. I want to go. I want to go ziplining.
You're welcome to come.
I want to watch you and
too.
Nancy if you go.
Oh, good. Can you imagine Nancy? I know what Nancy will give me all kinds of interesting hand signals, and she will want the 15 seconds, and then I'll be able to return them. I'm just saying, Teresa, sorry, but it's true. There'll be hand signals. We have our own sign language. I'm just saying, but it'll be fun. We'll have a good time. I think so. Nancy would dig it. Nancy would totally, Nancy, like nothing phases her. She'll be like, all right, I'm going, and I'll be the one going with shaking knees, being a baby. And then Teresa will go, don't worry. And then Steve will go, hey, there's a beer on the other side. And then I'll be fine. It'll be fine. And I have to keep up with Nancy. I mean, she's my mom, If your mom's going to do a zip line, you better be there. You can't be a baby. So she's made me do a lot of things that like I was a little nervous about. So I scare her on mountain passes. Yeah. I'm scared, so I scare her. It's my way of giving back.
Yeah.
I think it's a really cool thing for families to do because of that kind of dynamic that you're all in it. And it just opens up things. The cell phone is down for those moments that you're out there. I just think it's a really cool thing. And by the way, it's National Family Month too in June. So just saying, this is a cool family experience for all ages to kind of go, all right, if you're nervous, you can mess with each other and you can support each other. You know what I mean? I think I grew up with doing those kinds of adventures, and I think that's why Nancy and I are able to run a business together, travel full time together, ultimately live together and be in a car together because of these kinds of experiences. And it's shared, little fear, and it's shared adrenaline, excitement, the beauty, and not always having your face in a phone. So I think it's huge. When I look at my childhood, that's how it is those experiences. So I'm forever grateful for those experiences because when you have these kinds of things that push you above what you put your self limits on, or other people may limit you and say what they want. But when you go above a limit and you now are flying like a bird and a monkey at once. I've always wanted to be a flying monkey, right? When you do that, you can achieve other things in your life. You can propel yourself further. One achievement propels to the next achievement because you've overcome something and you are rewarded with just gorgeous views and a beer at the end. Like, come on. I want a burger now too, for some reason. A beer and a burger after a zipline adventure. Sounds good. Because you've earned it.
There's good places for that too.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I love this.
And so we get another small business.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you so much, Teresa, for joining us on the podcast.
Yes, thank you,
Lisa.
Teresa.
It was a pleasure.
Everyone, Navitat, you've got to go to their website. You've got to be part of it. So go to navitat.com. Link is in the episode notes. And when you go to Asheville, go to Lion and the Rose Bed and Breakfast. Tell them you want Steve's beer. And of course, they're going to give it to you. Just go to lion-rose.com, and sometimes you get cookies or brownies when you check in, and they're all made with love, all of it. So, and you're going to have wonderful breakfast. They have a beautiful garden. They're in the Montford Historic District, surrounded by 600 historic homes just like theirs. Is that not amazing? So beautiful, beautiful place to be, very close to downtown and very easy to access all these amazing places we talk about on the show. So lion-rose.com. Yeah. Thank you all for joining us. Take care and happy outdoors.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us here on Big Blend Radio's Adventures in Asheville show. Learn more about the Lion and the Rose Bed and Breakfast, which is located in the historic Montford district of Asheville, North Carolina. Go to lion-rose.com. You can keep up with our Big Blend radio shows at bigblendradio.com.